ruins of the Parthenon, the superb temple built 24 centuries ago, when Greece could boast the highest civilization of the known world. But only a few miles away, a farmer plows with his oxen in the same manner as did his distant ancestors. A lonely shepherd tends his flock, and a fisherman rows out to sea in his tiny boat. The simplicity of life in most of Greece tells of a nation unable to keep pace commercially with the more fortunate nations of the world. In the heart of the Mediterranean area is the rocky peninsula of Greece, a mountainous land deeply interlaced with the sea. Greece counts almost 1/5 of her area in hundreds of small encircling islands. Today, as in ancient times, the sea plays an important part in the lives of many of the 8 million people of Greece. Dozens of tiny villages dot the island shoreline. By trading and fishing, their people depend upon the sea for a livelihood. Mending nets, baiting hooks, hauling in a catch. This is the temple of life among the islands of Greece. But the fish are usually small, and the catch is generally only for home consumption. These islanders consider a tender octopus especially delicious. In the island villages, sparkling white buildings help to reflect the heat of the bright Mediterranean sun. Steady sea winds turn graceful windmills, a reliable and economical source of power for grinding grain. Elaborate machinery would be far too expensive. The island homes are simple by our standards, but they are spotlessly clean and cool, comfortable for the Grecian way of life. The walls are often decorated with pottery, copperware, and nearly always a religious picture or some other religious relic, called an icon. On special occasions, such as a festival or wedding, traditional costumes are worn, elaborate dresses, perhaps 100 years old. Proud owners treasure these fine heirlooms made and worn by distant ancestors. They still dance the traditional Syrtos, symbolic of the eternal circle of the ancient Greeks. These are the simple pleasures of the Greek islands. The mainland of Greece is not a rich land. It lacks iron, petroleum, coal, and other minerals vital to modern industry. Deeply indented by the seas, Greece is handicapped in transportation. Small coastal vessels are helpful to those living near the sea, but such boats are slow. And since the roads of this mountainous land are poor, the farmer must often depend upon the donkey to carry his loads, as his ancestors did many centuries ago. Because his land lacks resources for manufacturing farm machinery, the farmer still plows with oxen and harvests by hand. Most of Greece suffers from too little rainfall, a dry and rocky land. Barren hillsides are swept of valuable topsoil by the infrequent rain. What might have been rich farmland is now barely able to support a few sheep and goats. In the cool and rainy winter months, flocks find enough grass in the valleys, but in the long, hot summer, these pastures become dry and brown. Therefore, every spring, the flocks are driven to higher mountain pastures, where grass remains green through the summer. The shepherd and his family follow the flock, carrying their belongings for the several months they will spend in the highlands. They will bake in clay ovens and live in grass houses until winter rains again restore the green to the valleys. But even with her generally dry climate, Greece has several important agricultural products. In the south, flourishing olive groves supply fruit and oils as they have done since ancient times. Here too are grown the black Corinth grapes, which when dried become small seedless raisins or currants. Currants have become the nation's second most valuable export. In central Greece, the plains of Thessaly produce grain, principally wheat and barley. A farmer's simple diet is rarely more than whole wheat bread, olives, a bit of goat cheese, and wine. But it is across northern Greece, in Macedonia and Thrace, that the most important farmlands extend. Macedonian women turn soil to grow the most valuable of all Greek crops, tobacco. It is planted by hand and carefully watered as a young plant. When full grown, the tobacco leaves are dried. They will be exported and so give Greece the means to purchase products from other lands. In the mainland farming villages, life is much more somber than in the cheerful, white-walled island towns. Ruined buildings mark the many years of terrible fighting in 2 world wars and during the years of internal struggle that followed. Such wars have been a heavy drain on manpower and wealth, making industrial development still more difficult in Greece. With machinery and modern plumbing so costly, village women must wash their clothes in a mountain stream and spin thread by hand, just as it was done by the ancient Greeks thousands of years ago. With the entire family helping, the long hand-spun threads are wound on a spool, which will be mounted on a primitive hand-operated loom. Women and children must aid in the work, for few able-bodied men return from the wars. Yet their problems have not discouraged the hardy Greeks. In the town square, the village patriarchs chat hopefully about the future. In the remote areas, one occasionally sees an ancient monastery perched high on an inaccessible rock or along a lonely shoreline. In buildings often over 1,000 years old, hundreds of monks of the Greek Orthodox Church seek seclusion for prayer. They supply most of their own needs, raising food on small terraced farms, even making their own shoes, using wooden pegs, since they have no nails. The monks avoid contact with the rest of the world. Life in these remote sanctuaries is very little changed from life in the Middle Ages. The capital of Greece is Athens, where 1.5 million persons live at the focal point of Greek commerce. To shorten the western shipping route to Athens, a canal has been cut through the Isthmus of Corinth. This important sea-level waterway is 4 miles long and cuts through nearly 200 feet of rock. The Corinth Canal saves several hundred miles of sailing for all but the largest ships. These vessels will dock at Piraeus, the port of Athens, bringing food and manufactured products, such as machinery and automobiles which Greece cannot produce herself. Tiny Greek sailing vessels unload bales of wool from the villages of northern Greece, or grain from Thessaly, while other vessels load tobacco, currants, or olive oil for other nations. As in ancient times, Greek ships sail among all the world's ports. The shipping industry remains of great importance to that nation. In addition to ships, passenger trains from other Greek cities, freight cargoes from the farming districts, paved highways, and foreign airlines all converge on Athens, the commercial center as well as the capital of Greece. Today, Greece is striving to modernize. in the area of the capital, a few factories do light manufacturing. Wool and cotton from central Greece are processed in modern spinning mills, a vast improvement over the hand spinning methods seen in rural districts. Athens has several cigarette factories processing Macedonian tobacco. Most of these cigarettes will be exported to other European countries. Modern building materials often come from the same marble quarries worked for the monuments of the ancient Greeks 2,500 years ago. This is still one of the cheapest and most practical building materials. Marble faces the Marathon Dam, which retains the water supply for Athens. White marble graces the beautiful Academy of Science, built in the architectural style of ancient Greece, carefully respecting the traditional forms of design. Even the marble stadium of Athens is identical with the ancient one which stood on this same spot 2,500 years ago and established a pattern copied by many of our modern stadiums. Just as the sports of ancient Greece are copied in the track and field events of today. Traditions are echoed in the strange costumes of the Evzones. They're proud to wear the bustanella as a uniform. These superbly trained soldiers are the personal honor guard of the king and queen of Greece. Although the average Athenian lives in a very modest dwelling, comfortable apartments and large private homes indicate that many persons, especially in the larger cities, have achieved prosperity in spite of the handicaps nature has placed on Greece. Life in Greece represents a strange blending of the ancient and modern. The Greeks of today admire monuments of the vanished glories of ancient times. Greek school children reverently visit the Parthenon in Athens, built by their distant ancestors who once controlled Mediterranean commerce and who gave our modern civilization some of its finest principles of democracy, arts, and thought. Today, with her growing industry and commerce, Greece is striving to recapture the importance she had in past centuries. However, lacking vital minerals, the materials for manufacturing must be imported at great cost. And with so little farmland, Greece must even import food for her people. Such handicaps make it difficult to attain comfort and security in the industrialized world of today. But facing these difficult problems are a people with one of the world's greatest cultural heritages and proudest histories of achievement, the people of Greece.